Today, I want to ask you a simple question. How did you learn your first language? Think about it for a moment. Did your parents give you a grammar book? Did they teach you the present perfect before you said your first word? Did they ask you to memorize 100 vocabulary words every week? Of course not. And yet, by the time you were 5 years old, you could understand thousands of words. You could ask questions, you could tell stories, you could even make jokes. So, how did that happen? And here's an even bigger question. Can adults learn English in the same way? Today, we are going to explore what modern science says about how children learn languages and what we as adult learners can learn from them. By the end of this episode, you will probably look at language learning in a completely different way. So, grab a cup of coffee, relax, and let's begin. The biggest myth about learning language. I hear this sentence almost every day. Children are like sponges. Maybe you've heard it too. People say children absorb languages naturally while adults struggle. But is that really true? Well, yes and no. Children are amazing language learners, that's true. But not because they have a magical brain. In fact, scientists have discovered something surprising. Children don't learn languages quickly because they're smarter. They learn because they learn differently. That's a huge difference. Adults often focus on rules. Children focus on the meanings. Adults worry about making mistakes. Children don't. Adults want to understand every single word. Children are happy even if they understand only part of the message. Imagine a 2-year-old child. Someone says, "Bring me the red ball." Does the child know the grammar? No. Does the child know what an adjective is? Definitely not. But the child looks around, finds the red ball, and bring it. Why? Because the brain isn't translating, it's connecting words with real experiences. That is exactly how language begins. Not with grammar, not with vocabulary lists, but with meaning. So now, let's do a little experiment. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you're visiting a country where nobody speaks your language. You walk into a small bakery. The woman behind the counter smiles and says something you don't understand. Then she points to fresh bread. She smiles again. She holds out a bag. Suddenly, without knowing a single grammar rule, you understand what she means. Why? Because your brain is constantly looking for clues. Your brain isn't waiting for translation. Your brain is searching for meaning. Children do this all day, every day. They watch faces, they listen to voices, they notice gestures, they observe situations slowly. Their brain begin connecting sounds with experiences, not translation. And that's one of the biggest secrets of language learning. Babies don't start with words. Here's another fascinating fact. Babies don't begin by learning words, they begin by learning sounds. When a baby is born, something incredible happens. During the first months of life, babies can hear tiny sound differences from almost every language in the world. Imagine that. A newborn baby can hear sound contrasts that many adults cannot. But over time, something changes. The brain starts paying more attention to the sounds it hears every day. The sounds of the family's language become stronger. Other sounds slowly become less important. This doesn't happen because the baby is studying. It happens because the brain is adapting to its environment. Think about that for a moment. The brain is learning. Before the child even says a single word. That's why listening is so important. Speaking comes later. Listening comes first. Let me ask you another question. How much English do you actually listen to every day? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe none of them. Many learners spend most of their time studying grammar. Others memorize vocabulary. Some even finish entire textbooks. But they rarely spend enough time simply listening to English. Now imagine learning to play the piano without ever listening to music. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Language works in a similar way. Your brain needs examples before it can create sentences. That's exactly what children receive every day. Thousands and thousands of examples before they ever speak. So, if you want to learn more like a child, don't ask yourself, how many grammar rules did I study today? Instead, ask, how much real English did I hear today? That one question can completely change the way you learn. Now, listen to a story you might recognize. Imagine a little girl named Emma. She's only 3 years old. Every evening, her father reads the same storybook, again and again and again. If you're a parent, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Children love repetition. Adults usually get bored, but children don't. Every time Emma hears the story, her brain notices something new. A new word, a familiar sentence, a pattern. Without realizing it, she's building her language one tiny piece at a time. No vocabulary notebook, no grammar exercise, just meaningful repetition. And that's one of the most powerful learning tools ever discovered. So, today we've already learned something important. Children don't learn languages because they're magical. They learn because their brains are constantly searching for meaning, patterns, and real communication, not perfect grammar. And here's the exciting part. Adults can use many of these same principles too. Your brain is a pattern machine. Yes, you heard that correctly. Your brain is a pattern machine. But before we continue this part, I want you to think about something. When was the last time you studied a grammar rule and then immediately used it naturally in a real conversation? For many English learners, the answer is almost never. Why? Because that's not how brains are designed to learn languages. Let's explore what children do differently. Your brain loves patterns. Imagine I say these sentences. I am happy. You are happy. They are happy. Now listen carefully. I am tired. You are tired. They are tired. Did you notice something? You probably did. Without anyone explaining grammar, your brain started recognizing a pattern. Your brain naturally asked, oh, am goes with I. Are goes with you. Are also goes with they. Nobody had to teach you that first. Your brain discovered it. That's exactly what children do. Not once, not twice, but thousands of times every single day. Scientists call this statistical learning. That sounds like a difficult term, but the idea is actually very simple. Your brain counts patterns without you realizing it. It notices which words usually appear together, which sounds come next. And eventually, those patterns become automatic. Another question for you. Why children rarely translate? Now, think about the word apple. When you hear it, what happens? Many learners immediately think apple means. That's translation. Children don't do that. When a child hears apple, they don't think of another language. Instead, they imagine a shiny red apple. They remember its smell, its taste, its color, its shape. The word connects directly to an experience. There is no middle step. That's why native speakers answer questions so quickly. Their brains don't translate. They recognize meaning instantly. Now, here's an interesting question. Can adults learn this way too? The answer is yes, but it takes practice. Instead of connecting English words to your native language, try connecting English words directly to pictures, actions, feelings, or memories. For example, don't think beach equals and then the translation. Instead, imagine warm sand, blue water, the sound of waves, the smell of the ocean. Your brain remembers experiences much better than translation. In this part, we're gonna talk about the hidden power of context. Let's play another game. Imagine I simply say one word: bank. What does it mean in your language? Is it a place where you keep your money? Or is it the side of a river? You don't know. Now listen again. I went to the bank to deposit some money. Easy. Now try another one. We sat on the river bank and watched the sunset. Again, easy. Why? Because your brain loves context. Children almost never hear random vocabulary lists. They hear words inside meaningful situations. That's why context is one of the most powerful teachers in the world. If you learn the word generous, don't memorize only this. Generous means kind. Instead, imagine someone giving food to a homeless person. Imagine your grandmother always sharing everything. Now, the word has a story. Stories are much easier to remember than isolated facts. Why repetition isn't boring? This is another question. Many adults avoid repetition because they think I already know this. Children think differently. Watch a 4-year-old. They will happily watch the same cartoon 20 times, 30 times, maybe 50 times. Adults often laugh, but children are doing something brilliant. Each time they watch it, their brain notices new details. The first time, they understand the story. The second time, they notice new words. The third time, they begin predicting sentences. The fourth time, they start saying the dialogue aloud without realizing it. They're practicing listening, vocabulary, pronunciation, and speaking, all at the same time. That's why repetition is not the enemy. Meaningful repetition is one of the fastest ways to improve. So don't feel guilty if you listen to your favorite English podcast again or watch the same episode twice. Your brain is strengthening patterns every single time. Yeah, I think that's enough for today's episode, and we will continue in next episode. So if you want to learn more, please don't forget to subscribe. And what do you think about today's episode? You can comment it below, and see you in the next episode. Goodbye.